The Electoral Commission has released its preliminary report on the candidate nomination process. Yesterday, political parties scrambled to meet the deadline of submitting candidates. Senior reporter Siphamandla Goge has been following the IEC's media briefing for us and joins us now live. Siphamandla, did the political parties, first of all manage to submit their names in time?
Well, the majority of them were able to submit, but you would understand that there were challenges with some political parties asking for an extension, something that the IEC says it was not easy to grant. But I can tell you, it appears that there is a huge interest when it comes to these local government elections here. We are talking about 59,272 candidates for now. Of course, these are preliminary numbers and candidates. And there is another interesting aspect here. You are talking about more than 900 independent candidates that have registered here. That tells you that number has increased from 2016, if I'm not mistaken. So the IEC is an organization which is under pressure to deliver elections that may or may not go ahead in October 27. Either way, whether elections are held in October or February 2022, it doesn't really matter. The IEC is under pressure. They are running out of time, and logistically, it seems as if this will be one of the most challenging local government elections in the country. We are joined by Mr. Mawetu Mosre, who's from the IEC. Baba, thank you very much for your time. First of all, let's talk about the summary of the candidates that have registered. How smooth was your process yesterday during that deadline?
Well, we had a candidate nomination process that began on the 3rd of August. So it's been a 20-day process where we had allowed for candidates to be submitted. And obviously the last day is the one that has the highest pressure, and we saw close to 100 political parties just yesterday coming to submit their candidates. And what we are satisfied with is obviously 70% of the candidates were submitted with our online system, which is fairly convenient for us as well as the political parties. But there was a huge number of 30% of political parties and candidates who submitted manually in our local offices throughout the country. And we are still working on some of those candidates. That's why our current figure of 59,000 plus candidates will change in the next 24 hours to reflect those that we've not captured as yet.
Some political parties asked you for an extension, but you were unable to grant that. Why?
Well, we've got to take two considerations when we think about that matter, and when we were considering that matter, we had two reasons to consider. One, the fact that parties have been constrained to run their own internal processes to nominate candidates and actually come to submit to us. Secondly, the doubt that was created obviously by the application that we had undertaken to the Constitutional Court. Some were hoping that it will be granted, and therefore they were not ready in time. So we allowed for those logistical reasons, the confusion, the deadlines that could have been missed.
Another thorny issue here is your online application system. It was meant to shut down at 9. It was still live and up beyond that. Some leaders of political parties, including the EFF, they were not pleased with that. Why was your system still up and running after 9?
Well, it was part of our management process that we will obviously shut down in terms of the regulation at 9 o'clock. However, because of technology that we use, we had to allow for all the inputs to come through, and those in the ICT environment will understand what we are referring to. But it was within our control, and we'll be able to exclude those who came after 2100 hours.
You mentioned Concord. You are still waiting for that judgment. How difficult it is to organize this election without knowing the outcome of your application to the Concord?
We are organizing fairly well, because we knew about the timetable, we knew about the time frame of this election. However, the pressure is in this political space, the political environment, because there's hesitation, there's doubt, and obviously we were very worried with the voters who did not get an opportunity to go and register.
What happens now? When can we expect the final list in September? But in terms of the processes and the election calendar, the lists are in now. What happens moving forward?
Well, what happens is that this Friday we will tell political parties who of the candidates you've nominated has documents missing. Please supply those documents. And then on the 7th of September, we will then publish the final list of everyone nominated to contest this election, and we'll issue them certificates by the 13th of September, and it's all systems go in terms of them campaigning. On our side, we go into the process of signing the code of conduct and then starting the print of the ballot papers at that point.
As a matter of clarity in closing, should you be successful at the Constitutional Court, does that mean then parties will be able to review their lists?
Yes, if we are successful, post the order of the court, we will then issue a new election program, which takes us to whatever time that the court will grant us, and that should start with obviously promoting voter registration and reopening candidate nomination.
Thank you very much for your time. That is Mawetu Mosri from the IEC outlining the process now that political parties have submitted their lists. But this is not the end. It's just the start of the process here in the election calendar. A lot of verification will take place now moving forward up until that final list is completed, as we take it back to you in studio.
Thank you very much for that update on the IEC. Well,